January 19th, 1977. Now retired meteorologist Jim Lushine was driving home from work when something started falling from the sky.
Then I start seeing these little pieces of white floating down from the sky, and I'm wondering, how could this really be happening here in Miami? Maybe it's just white rain.
The little pieces of white turned out to be snow. Not a lot of it, but enough to mark South Florida's only snow event of the 20th century.
Well, it was a freaky event, but what happened was we had two Arctic cold fronts coming through, almost one right after the other. And the first one dropped the temperatures down to into the lower 30s, and then the second one came on its heels very close by and produced the little bit of moisture that was necessary to cause the snow.
It didn't snow everywhere in South Florida, so there were skeptics.
The fact that so many people saw the snow that day, we know that it happened, but it did not actually measure at the official observation site here in Miami.
Cooperative stations in other parts of South Florida did report traces of snow, so an asterisk is included in the official precipitation records for that day. The one thing everyone in South Florida felt was the cold. Temperatures that wiped out crops and migrant jobs across the state.
Temperatures got down into the 20s here in South Florida, and the damage to the crops in the state of Florida was over $2 billion back in that year.
Snowbirds suddenly found themselves caught in weather they thought they left back home.
Where are you from?
Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
What do you think of this weather we're having down here?
I think it's pretty awful.
I've got a couple of sweaters on this morning that I never wore in Canada.
7 years ago, there were reports of snow mixing with rain in South Florida, but those were unconfirmed. So what are the odds of snow falling in South Florida again?
During times, especially during when the solar cycle is certain conditions, we could see a possibility of one. There's actually one coming up in the year 2030 to 2040, so we'll have to put that in our very long-range forecast.
In the meantime, keep the sweaters handy just in case. Berg, NBC6 News.